This video contains information specifically for applicants with work experience, but no post-secondary education certificate or diploma. Before continuing with this video, please view A Guide to Certification for All Applicants, in which you'll learn about the requirements to apply for certification as an applied science or engineering technology technician or technologist. You'll also learn how to navigate the Engineering Technology Canada website. If you did not graduate from a post-secondary education program, but have at least 5 years of work experience in an applied science or engineering technology related occupation, you may be eligible for certification based on your on-the-job training, self-directed and other learning, plus work experience. This video provides additional information explaining how to document your knowledge and skills compared to the certification requirements. This Prior Learning Assessment and Recognition, or PLAR, application process requires you to explain when, where, and how you achieved the knowledge and skills equivalent to the learning outcomes for 8 general and 5 discipline-specific competencies. The application form will guide you through this PLAR process. On the engineeringtechnologycanada.ca website homepage, which you can see on your screen, under the Getting Started tab, click on Experienced Technology Practitioners. Once you have reviewed the requirements and determine if you should apply as a technician or technologist, the next step is to prepare your curriculum vitae or resume. Documenting your education, training, and employment history will help when you fill in the online application form. Be sure to include in your resume any education programs or courses completed, a list of on-the-job training, and your employment history. Organize your resume into 3 sections. 1. Education. 2. On-the-job training. And 3. Employment. Start each section with the current or most recent activity and continue in reverse chronological order. Include essential information such as the name of the school or training provider, the location, including city, and start and completion dates. Do the same for your employment history. If you need more information on preparing your resume, please search the internet for how to prepare a curriculum vitae or resume. Your resume is one of the required documents to be uploaded with your application. You are now ready to begin completing the various sections of the online application form. Simply follow the instructions and enter the requested information at each step of the process. Most of the information is straightforward and easy to enter or answer by simply selecting one of the checkboxes or buttons. The section requiring you to enter information that clearly describes when, where, and how you achieved or learned the general and the discipline-specific competencies is extremely important and will require the most time and effort to complete. There are 8 general competencies for technicians and a different set of 8 general competencies for technologists, which you can see on your screen. The online application form requires you to first select the competencies. Clicking on a competency will display several indicators describing knowledge or skills that demonstrate the competency. An important part of determining if you have the required competencies is your explanation of when, where, and how you learned each of the 8 general competencies. In particular, technician applicants need to provide clear explanation for number 1, communication, and number 2, mathematics competencies. Technologist applicants need to pay particular attention to number 1, technology report, number 2, mathematics, and number 4, physical and natural science. Here are 3 examples of the kind of explanations needed for technician general competencies. Example 1, communication. The competency is communicate clearly, concisely, and correctly in writing and orally. The indicators for this competency are 1.1, prepare communications according to the purpose and the audience. 1.2, use proper language and style suitable to the context and task. 1.3, demonstrate the practice of good technical writing. A sample explanation for this competency is, in 2018, while working as a quality assurance technician for ABC Manufacturing Company in Toronto, I prepared written instructions for using and maintaining the air purification equipment manufactured by ABC. Through self-study, I learned to prepare PowerPoint presentations and requested my supervisor to check the written instructions for clarity and any errors. The instructions were used during in-person presentations to sales representatives in our distribution network. Example number 2, mathematical techniques. The competency is solve applied science and/or engineering technical problems applying a wide variety of mathematical techniques with the degree of accuracy required appropriate to the discipline. The indicators for this competency are 2.1. Apply mathematical strategies, including models, geometric representations or formulas, elementary algebraic equations, descriptive statistical methods, and mathematical reasoning for suitability and effectiveness. 2.2. Implement selected strategies and appropriate mathematical operations. 2.3. Estimate probable answers. 2.4. Perform mathematical operations accurately utilizing calculators or appropriate technical instruments. 2.5. Recognize errors in numerical answers and the appropriate fit between problems and answers. A sample explanation for this competency is, from 2012 to 2017, while working as a computer-aided design technician for XYZ Hydraulics Inc. in Halifax, Nova Scotia, I used algebra and basic calculus that I learned in high school to complete calculations of volumes, flow, and pressure settings for hydraulic systems. With the assistance of senior technologists and engineers working on the project, I learned how to solve more complex calculations using various calculator and computer applications. In 2017, I attended a one-week training program in Toronto given by a pump manufacturing company. The training topics included statistical quality control and plotting pump performance curves on graphs to solve component selection for various hydraulic systems. Example number 3, teamwork. The competency is collaborate with others in groups or teams that contribute to effective working relationships. A sample explanation for this competency is, from 2012 to present, my work as a computer-aided design technician for XYZ Hydraulics Inc. in Halifax, Nova Scotia involves working with project teams that include tradespeople, technicians, and engineers. At first, I mainly listened and learned from others, but now I often serve as the project team lead. To help improve my leadership skills, I am taking an online course part-time for effective project management. In addition, XYZ Hydraulics provides on-the-job professional development training seminars on working with diverse teams. Once you've completed the 8 general competencies, the next step is to identify and describe your discipline-specific competencies. The list of competencies for your discipline will typically include 8 to 12 competencies from which you will need to select approximately 5. Take your time to identify only those competencies for which you have the knowledge, skills, and experience. Reviewing the indicators for each competency provides additional detail. You should be able to do the majority of indicators for each competency to achieve the competency. If your competencies and the work you do are in more than one discipline, it's possible to select a competency from another discipline. For example, if your primary discipline is mechanical, but you also have competencies in electrical, you may select 3 competencies from mechanical and 2 from electrical. Be very specific when describing work experience projects or assignments. If possible, include the name of the employer, your job title, the project or assignment, the dates, and summary details of the competencies you used. You'll also need to include the names and email addresses of at least 3 people who can provide technical references by replying to an email and online questionnaire that they will receive from the provincial association you are applying to. The information provided by the referees is confidential and is not available to applicants. To determine if your work experience, on-the-job training, and other learning is equivalent to the education requirements for certification as a technician or technologist, it is important to include as much relevant information and documentation as possible. If available, you should include certificates or transcripts of any secondary or post-secondary studies that you completed, either as a full-time or part-time student. Some applicants may have examples of their work, such as reports, plans, drawings, or photos. In all cases, the work must have been completed by the applicant. Once you've completed and submitted your application, you may receive a request from the Provincial Association to provide additional information. Your cooperation in responding in a timely manner to requests for further information is very important. The processing of applications based on work experience and self-directed learning requires additional time and effort for the applicant, the staff, and the volunteers of the Provincial Association. The status of processing your application is available by logging into your application account.